This was so avoidable. Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here, and you are very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. Are you feeling charitable? Then smash the subscribe button and the like button and the share button, and please do follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. Yes, the death of cinema could have been avoidable. Here we are from Variety. Cineworld to close all Regal cinemas in the UK venues in response to No Time to Die delay. I don't really like the blame being put on one movie. I think that's childish and pathetic. But anyway, they're being closed, and here's the article. Here's the details. Cineworld is shuttering all 543 of its Regal cinema venues in the US and all cinemas across the UK and Ireland this coming week, just a day after James Bond film No Time to Die was pushed to April 2021. Variety understands from sources that the chain will close all sites in both countries as early as this week, with staff notified ahead of Monday. Regal is the second largest domestic chain in the US, while Cineworld is the UK's biggest cinema operator. And just saying the size of them just shows you this is the death of cinema. In the UK, Cineworld, which declined to comment, is understood to be writing to Prime Minister Boris Johnson and Culture Secretary Oliver Dowden, complete waste of time by the way, this weekend to explain that the exhibition sector is unviable due to studios delaying tentpoles as a result of anxious audiences steering clear of cinemas amid the global pandemic. The Cineworld closures will put up to 5,500 jobs at risk in the UK. Sources indicate a reopening date hasn't yet been set, but cinemas could stay closed until 2021. So they're not liquidating, they're not going out of business, they're just shutting. It's not worth turning the electric on. The swift move by the Mookie Greigling run chain, whose UK closures were first reported by the Sunday Times, follows Friday's bombshell Bond announcement, though there had been speculation that No Time to Die could move from its November the 12th and November 20th slots in the UK and North America, respectively. Many in the industry, including several global exhibition bosses, believed it would ultimately hold firm. Its new date of April the 2nd, 2021 has come as a distressing shock to the exhibition sector, which is starved of vital blockbusters to bring audiences back to movie theatres. It's believed Cineworld staff had not yet been informed of the company's decision to close as of Saturday evening UK time. Cinema World Action Group, a collective of employees supported by entertainment union Bectu, tweeted on Saturday that there has been no consultation with staff whatsoever. News of closures first emerged via a preview of the Sunday Times front page posted late on Saturday night. And there's tweets here proving it. Anyway, we go on with the article. Cineworld's shock move comes weeks after the company said in its half-year results that there were no certainty around its COVID-19 outlook. In a forward-looking statement, the firm said if governments were to strengthen restrictions on social gatherings, which may therefore oblige us to close our estate again or further push back movie releases, it would have a negative impact on our financial performance and likely require the need to raise additional liquidity. In the UK, Cineworld opened its doors after a 4-month shutdown only on July the 31st. The company had planned to open July 10th, but pushed its dates back after Tenet was delayed the first time around. In the US, Regal Cinemas began opening venues in late August ahead of the release of Christopher Nolan's thriller. No Time to Die, starring Daniel Craig in his final stint as the agent formerly known as 007, will hit theatres on April 2nd, 2021, a year later than initially planned. MGM Universal and Bond producers Michael G. Wilson and Barbara Broccoli today announced the release of No Time to Die. The 25th film in the James Bond series will be delayed until the 2nd of April in order to be seen by a worldwide theatrical audience. Deluding. Delusional, as far as I'm concerned. The filmmakers said in a statement on Friday, "We understand the delay will be disappointing to our fans, but we now look forward to sharing No Time to Die next year." Numerous movies were shuffled around in the wake of Tenet's lackluster US box office performance in September because the Bond franchise relies heavily on international ticket sales. The decision to move No Time to Die into next year is not entirely surprising. Coronavirus cases in Europe have started to rise again, and New York and Los Angeles, the two biggest US markets, remain closed. The delay is a major blow to theatres, and there's a chance more could be forced to close given the lack of new content on the horizon. Pixar's Soul on November the 20th is now the next big movie slated for theatrical release. However, there are rumblings that Disney will move the animated adventure and possibly put it on Disney+, the studio's subscription streaming service. Two Warner Brothers titles, Wonder Woman 84 and June, are still set for December, though there's a chance those could be postponed again as well. I would say they're going to be postponed again unless there's a big change in the COVID-19 outlook. And so that's the article. And what a fucking shit show. Both public and the industry at large living in denial. We want to go to the cinema. We want to see our movies on the biggest screen possible. We want the cinema experience. Boo-hoo. That's all we've heard since COVID-19 has struck, and nobody has planned for the future. It is fucking obvious that people can't go to cinemas any longer, and people refuse to go to cinemas in the droves and amounts that they were before the pandemic hit. But instead of Hollywood and, these theatre companies and theatre chains thinking, what can we do until the virus is dealt with? What can we do here? Hollywood studios could have created a relief fund for theatrical chains. After all, each one's survival is integral to each other, right? But no. Everyone just sat there, and it's a bit like going to visit your granddad in an old people's home. Hello, I remember the war. All you got from these people is cinemas. We believe in our cinemas. We're supporting our cinemas. We want you to see these things on the biggest screen possible. The cinema experience must be preserved. It's very, very important. That's all we've heard since this pandemic hit. Deluded, right? Until this pandemic is over, cinemas are not viable. So why didn't Hollywood and the theatrical chains come together with a merger to create a pay-per-view streaming service, charging people $20 to $30 sterling, euros, whatever per view? This would have been profitable. People at home pressing a button. You can come at me where you say they can't make the same amount of money. Of course they can. They don't even have to leave to go to a cinema. They're at home. All they have to do is press a button. This could have been a temporary situation that could have been brought up very quickly and done. But no, these people carried on living in denial, and now Cineworld are shutting their doors until this is all over, or till an amount of, blockbuster movies are released. Nothing big is going to be released this year. That's obvious now. Wonder Woman 84 in June will certainly be pushed back unless there's a vaccine or a miracle happens, and that's highly unlikely. And the public are just as bad as the industry. We want cinemas. We don't want to watch it pay-per-view. Boo-hoo. Fed up of it. Fed up of the industry, the deluded industry. They keep on putting these films back, and they think just because they're putting them back, they're solving a problem. You're not. All you're doing is pushing the problem back. People have predicted that cinemas won't be viable for maybe 2 years. 2 years, and you haven't come up with a plan. Clowns. These are major studios. MGM, Warner Brothers, Disney, right? Fox. I could go on naming them all. And not one of them has a viable plan. These are supposed to be the most cleverest people. They've been making $1 trillion a year altogether, all these studios, from people's loves of movies and escapism and fantasy for decades now. And you are telling me, you see there's a pandemic, you see that theatres are not viable, and you sit there with your head between your legs just boring on about preserving the cinematic experience. The only way you can preserve the cinematic experience is not putting movies back and hoping for the best. It's by protecting the theatre chains and funneling a fund to them and merging with them to create a streaming service so people can watch these films pay-per-view. So you're at least making something. But no, you haven't got a plan. You still insist in going on about preserving the cinematic experience. How are you preserving the cinematic experience when people can't watch films, where you are not making any money? The cinema chains are not making any money. And all you had to do was merge with the chains to create a streaming pay-per-view service. It is easy. It's not rocket science. If I'm coming up with it and I'm not that smart, I'm sure I've got a very low IQ and I've never tested it before, right? I don't know my times table. Yes, seriously, I don't. But even I know this is the solution. So what you're getting on Twitter now is people getting angry because some people are going, I don't care about cinemas because I've got Netflix, and other people getting upset and, ostracized by that. It doesn't matter about opinions. The fact is that you are all living and you are all deluded and living in denial over the cinematic experience and how it cannot coexist with this pandemic right now. And they're still sitting there debating and talking about this when all they had to do was charge people to watch these films from their own home. But no, because they're so tunnel vision that they couldn't come up with a solution to preserve cinema for the next couple of years. No. So we're just going to sit here listening to films being delayed and delayed and delayed. By the way, they're still making films. They're still making films. Who are you going to show these films to? You clowns, right? You sideshow bobs. Who are you going to show these films to when you're not willing to let people press a button and watch them from their own homes, and they'll be happy to spend 20 to 30 euros or dollars or sterling or whatever on these films? It's easy. It's obvious. This whole thing could have been avoided. But instead, you're going to stand there while this industry explodes in front of you because you're all living in denial. Comment down below, like, share and subscribe, and I'll be back tomorrow with more videos. See you again soon.